had not borne him any children, but he had an Egyptian slave woman named Hagar. So she said to Abram, "The Lord has kept me from having children. Why don't you sleep with my slave? Perhaps she can have a child." Abram agreed with what Sarai said, so she gave Hagar to him, to his concubine. This happened after Abram had lived in Canaan for 10 years. Abram had intercourse with Hagar and she became pregnant. When she found out she was pregnant, she became proud and despised Sarai. When Sarai said to Abram, "It's your fault that Hagar despises me. I myself gave her to you, and ever since she found out she was pregnant, she has despised me. May the Lord judge which of us is right, you or me." Abram answered, "Very well, she is your slave and under your control. Do whatever you want with her." Then Sarai treated Hagar so cruelly that she ran away. The angel of the Lord met Hagar at a spring in the desert on the road to shore and said, "Hagar, slave of Sarai, where have you come from and where are you going?" She answered, "I'm running away from my mistress." He said, "Go back to her and be her slave." Then he said, I will give you I will give you so many descendants that no one will be able to count them. You are going to have a son and you will name him Ishmael, because the Lord has heard your cry of distress. But your son will live like a wild donkey. He will be against everyone, and everyone will be against him. He will live apart from all his relatives. Hagar asked herself, "Have I really seen God and lived to tell about it?" So she called the Lord who had spoken to her a God. So she called the Lord who had spoken to her a God who speaks. That is why people call the well between Kadesh and Bered the well of the living one who saves me. Hagar bore Abram a son. He named him Ishmael, and Abram lived 86 years old at the time. Let me open the door in a minute. As we are reading, we could see a situation that arose from not waiting on God, not waiting on what God has promised Sarai, because she got to a point and she said, "The Lord has kept me from having." So she had gotten to a point she had just believed this is what God has decided. And already God had promised them a child. In chapter 18, we see God had told Abraham, "Look at the sky and count the stars, and you will see the descendants. You will have as many descendants as that." So when we are reading this verse, we see so much emotion, so much situations of compromise just because of not waiting on God. And being in such a situation, sometimes there's some things maybe God has called you, Ama He has promised you, and sometimes they look like they're taking long. You've been fasting about it, you've waited, you have prayed about it, then you get to a point where you're like, "Hey, I think I can do something about it." And this is what Sarai did. And this is what is happening in this whole chapter. The whole chapter is about trying to do something else apart from what God has promised you. God has promised something for us, something, everything. There's something God has promised for us in every situation. So when we see Sarai, she got to a point that she stopped believing. And at that point, you stop believing. That is when you start creating your own things. Because you see, that is when she stopped believing. That's when she had ideas. She started creating her own plans. In our day-to-day lives, when you see that job hasn't come, you start creating something, a manipulation. I can pay a bribe, I can do this. When you see that relationship has taken so long from coming, what do? You start the next person who greets you give them you give them a chance. The person who hits on you or who starts talking to you, and you know maybe this person even is not born again. How many times have we done this? How many times have we, maybe the business in a struggle, your business is struggling in one point, you compromise the integrity. And it is very easy to see situations in the Bible and you're like, "Hey, this one, hey, why did she do that?" But when you look in our day-to-day activities, some of the decisions that we are making, sometimes we have the two small Ishmael. Ask yourself today, ka Ishmael kakwabi? Where is the small Ishmael that I have in my life? Because even every Ishmael comes with a consequence. You see, when immediately too, when Haggai discovered that she was pregnant, she started becoming proud. Because at first the situation looked like it had worked. You see, now she's pregnant, and Sarai was happy. But when she conceived, now there was tension, there's jealousy because now she feels like Sarai is intimidating her. Maybe she was telling her things, she was telling her to do things, and she wasn't doing them. And these things are the small things that maybe after getting that job, maybe that you compromised for, you don't have peace. These are the consequences of the Ishmael that we have in our lives. The relationship that you took, it is not giving you joy. And I saw a story of a lady who was saying that God had sometimes the way the devil manipulates your dreams, and she dreamt about a certain man, and and she was asking God, why is this man so mean? Why is this man so treating me in a bad way? So she was asking God, why is this blessing coming like this? Sometimes you make decisions just to fit in, just to make things look, just to create, because you have waited for long. That money that you got maybe in a certain way, compromise, you did all these things. That is where you lose integrity. That is the consequence of the decisions that you are making. So God is asking us today, look and observe your life. What are these small issues that we have? It is very easy to see small, to look at situations and you're like, hey, she could have waited. Imagine God had talked to her. But even if there's something God is telling you, there's something God has communicated to you, there's something God has told you to do. And then you're like, this one has taken long. I don't think God said that. But one thing that is also standing out is, imagine the promise of God still stood, like what He had promised them, what He had told them will come. The grace was still there even after all these Ishmaels, even after you make all these decisions, the grace of God is sufficient. It is there. So let us be people who are keen to understand what God is communicating to us. There's something God is telling each one of us. Do you have an Ishmael in your life? Do you have a situation where you've compromised yourself? Do you have a situation where you feel like things are delaying? You're going to handle it yourself. You're like, hey, I can help God. And sometimes you don't see it like helping God. You're there saying, I can do something about it while I wait on God. That is not what God has told you to do. He has told you to wait. His words never change. He won't get to a point and change his plans for us. So let us be people who wait on God. And it's very easy to see things in the Bible and see people doing certain things. But when you observe your life, you have Ishmael. There's a Ishmael maybe in your finances. There's an Ishmael in your job. There's an Ishmael in your friendships or in anything. Just observe your life. That is what God is reminding us today. That there's the Ishmaels that we have in our lives. There are things that we are not waiting on God. You feel like you can solve them by yourself. You feel like you are able enough. Like this one I've done so many times. I do this every time. I have seen this one doing it, but you're not consulting God. So let us remember, even though you have made these decisions, you have created things on your own, God's grace is still sufficient. Even after the Ishmael, God can still bring forth an Isaac. So let us fulfill the plan of God. There's something God has told us to do. Let us walk in faith. Let us walk in obedience. Because you see, when things started going haywire, you see, Sarai started telling Abraham, it's your fault. Unaanza kutafuta someone to blame. You always look for someone. Hey, it is this one. If it were not for this person advising me, if this person didn't tell me about this situation, I would not have done it. You look for people to blame. You look for people to start telling it's your fault. Because you see, when Sarai started saying it's your fault that Haggai despises me. So let us be people who understand what God is communicating to us. We have Ishmaels maybe even in our marriages. Maybe you're marrying out of pressure. People, you have gotten to a certain point, you're like, hey, I will just get married to anyone. Why are we not waiting on God? Even though it is a ministry, yes, God has called you, but when are you supposed to start? If it's a business, don't start without direction. And I had even Reverend Killer was saying some time back, and he said those small instructions are the direction. Because if you don't get that instruction, how will you know you're supposed to go right or left? How are you supposed to know this is the right direction? Let us stop forcing opportunities. Let us wait on God. He has never failed. There was a time There's a time a friend of mine had told me to pray for her, and she really wanted this thing to work. So I went, and we were going for a fast somewhere, and I went to pray, like, God, if there's any delay, oh, we cancel all the delays. And God asked me one question: have I ever, like, God asked me that, have I ever been late? Have I ever been late? And nikanyamaza. So I just went quiet. I was like, there's something, like, God has never been late. There was no, that means there was no delay in that situation. Sometimes it's just you, it's for you to wait. And in that waiting, it's not easy to wait. In that waiting, there's something God is communicating to you. Even you're never the same. The time of the Lord comes, the time that He has promised you to give you your Isaac, the time that God has promised to give you this promise that He has given you, you will have transformed into what you want to be. If it is a job, if it is a certain situation, there's a version of you that God wants you to become. Maybe you're complaining a lot. See, there was a time I was complaining, and I stopped complaining at that, like, some time back. I was asking God, I was telling my friends, why is this not working? I have done this. Let us not be people who complain. Go and tell God, this is what I'm going through. Don't complain, because you're praising the problem. They are there praising the problem. Unasema, hey, this one is not working. And you know the words of, we are told even the tongue is like a fire. It will light that fire. You will continue, like, renewing your blessings. Let us not be people who complain. Don't complain. Ask God to give you strength, because He tells us even in the waiting, we need He strengthens us, because in waiting you need a lot of strength. It is not easy, but let us be waiting on the Lord, because He never fails, and His blessings are yea and amen. So let us be people who wait on God. Don't compromise your values, because even when you get that job, you won't have peace. Have you ever done something and you are not supposed to do? Nakwambia, you won't have peace in that place. You went also, you're like, what is the point of having this? You see, the same decision that Sarai made. I know she was thinking, I wish I had waited on God. So today God is telling us, wait for your Isaac. Don't burst the Ishmael. Ishmael anatusumbua hadi wa leo. You see, people are saying this Ishmael is people who are from the very wealthy. They were given the blessing, and Ishmael the Ishmaels, they will stay there to disturb you, and to make you feel like they can solve the solution. So let us wait. Wait for your Isaac. If you're in a waiting season, wait for your Isaac. Stop birthing Ishmael. God is reminding us today, He keeps promises. He always keeps His word. Have you ever waited on God, and then you're like, hey, I wish I didn't wait. Every time, even have you noticed, even when you're queuing somewhere and you're very, like, you feel like the queue is very long, when you get to when you receive the service, you forget how you had waited, you forget all these things, because the blessing, the thing that you are waiting for, it comes with so much peace, with so much blessing. But when you don't wait on God, it comes with stress. There's no peace, there's no joy. If it is a relationship, if it is a marriage, there's no joy, there's no peace. If it is money that you got, you're always worried. You're like, I know you always have that thing in you that reminds you didn't get this money the right way. You didn't get this job the right way, because you can't lie to yourself and you can't lie to God. Everyone else can see that you're doing so well, but deep down inside you, you know. Let us not have these Ishmaels in our lives, because all these Ishmaels, they have consequences. Let us sometimes look at the consequences that are ahead. If you make this decision, what will it cost me? We have the wisdom to think about it. So God is reminding us that He always keeps His word, and His word doesn't go void. His word doesn't just go void. Whatever He has promised you, whatever He has told you He will do for you, it might not come in your timing. It might not make sense in what you're doing. Because if you look at the time that Sarai got Isaac, to human beings, even physically, it won't make sense to even the people who are around. Let us not just move in our own timing. So may we pray that God will help us to move in His time, to give us patience, to wait on Him, to wait on what He has called us to be in whatever situation you're in. Because sometimes, hey, situations are hard. You're like, hey, God, can I just do this? But every time you think of the consequences, the repercussions of these things, they are always dire sometimes. You will never have this in that job because you know this and this happened. You will always have that thing telling you, that conscience telling you, you know what you did. So let us not be people who just create things. Let us not create situations. Let us wait on God. That thing that God has told you He will do for you. Is it your finances? Is it your marriage? Is it a relationship you're praying for? Is it a godly marriage that you're praying for? Wait on God. Stop trying to make things for yourself. Stop trying to do something about it. Stop trying to solve situations that are not for you to solve. He says the battle is mine, not yours. Victory is what is yours. So let us walk in what God has called us to be. God has told us that he has good plans for us. He has good plans for us to prosper us. Do you believe that? Do you live in that? So God is reminding us today, wait for your Isaac. Don't back an Ishmael. That situation that you feel like you want to make that decision maybe you are to make today or tomorrow or this week, please don't make it. Don't back the Ishmael if you've not waited on God. And if this is what God has told you to do, then go for it. So this is a reminder to us that don't back that Ishmael. Don't make that decision that you're about to make. Don't create things on your own. Start with God. Start that business with God. Ask Him for direction. Don't just do things. And the Lord is going to be faithful. He has never failed. He has never lost a battle. So, anyone who has something else to add, that was our teaching today in our lives, the things that we have in our lives, that we have made, the decisions that we have made. We pray for grace, even for the Ishmaels that we have, maybe each one or any one of us has made in any situation.